happened?
I don't know.
Those are tapeworms.
A teenage girl had a stomach so swollen it looked unreal. At first glance, it looked like she was months pregnant. That was the nurse's first thought, too. But the second she asked about it, the girl's mother blew up. She kept insisting there was no way.
What? Are you completely out of your mind? She is not.
Then started complaining the hospital was moving too slowly. All she wanted was medicine and to leave. But the girl was already hurting so badly she could barely stand straight. They did a urine test, then an ultrasound still. They could not see clearly, so the doctor had to keep going. Then the CT came back. Her abdominally was packed with something. Packed so badly it was almost shocking. In the end, the doctor could only treat it first like severe constipation. They got ready for an enema, then laxatives. But not long after the medication went in, the girl suddenly clutched her stomach and ran into the bathroom. The next second, a scream came out from inside. No matter how hard they knocked, she would not open it. Her hand was shaking as she pointed at the toilet. The people standing by the bed looked down and froze in the spot, because what had been filling her stomach was not a baby, and it was not constipation either. Can you guess what it was?
It was the smallest baby I'd ever seen.
She showed almost no signs of life, the nurse explained, with a shaking voice that the baby had been found inside a toilet. The umbilical cord had just been cut, and the mother had disappeared. Andy checked for a pulse, and the heart rate was only 60. Far below normal, meaning the organs were already shutting down. Another problem quickly appeared, however. The baby was unbelievably tiny. Even the smallest intubation tube he could find was still too large. There were no other options. The tube had to go directly into the trachea, or the baby would die staring into the infant's throat. He couldn't even see the vocal cords clearly. One mistake into the esophagus, and she would die instantly. Andy forcefully lifted the laryngoscope. The movement itself could injure the baby, but without it, she definitely would not survive. Finally, the vocal cords came into view, and the tube was successful, but the emergency still was not over. She was too tiny for IV access. Her veins were impossible to catheterize. Andy had no choice but to use the most dangerous option, injecting epinephrine directly into the lung. Everyone's eyes stayed fixed on the monitor as the numbers climbed 60. 120, the baby had come back to life, and the baby was taken to intensive care. Who would throw a newborn into a toilet? Could this tiny baby who almost died actually survive?
Comment 777 for the next episode.
One of them has his hand completely encased in something.
Gotta get this off of me!
Trying to save your hand right now.
Families who have dealt with this kind of thing already know. Cold water and sail in dough, almost nothing. Then suddenly one thought flashed through the doctor's mind. Oil breaks down oil. Tar is oil-based, so they needed something oil-based to slowly loosen it up. The first thing he thought of was petroleum jelly. After they put it on, that outer layer of Terali did start to change. But those little packets of petroleum jelly in urgent care were nowhere near enough for a whole hand. And that layer of tar was still getting harder. So the doctor kept thinking what else was oil-based and came in a large enough amount. Then the next second, an even crazier answer hit him: mayonnaise. And he immediately told the assistanto go to the burger place next door and bring back 2 huge tubs. The second it got there, the boy pushed his whole hand in. At first, he jerked back. But pretty quickly, that layer of tar that had been wrapped so tightly around the hand started softening little by little. And when they started picking at it again, it was already coming off in chunks. That was when everyone finally felt like they could breathe. They kept soaking it.
This is looking good. We're gonna clean this up.
If I drop his arm and his hand magically misses his face, well, then he's faking.
Well, I wasn't expecting that. Maybe he's legit.
George is an extremely dangerous prisoner. He'd been lying motionless on the bed for 5 hours straight. The police suspected he was faking unconsciousness.
Where's George?
So now I'm starting to worry that he might not be faking.
His arms and legs were tightly restrained, and 3 officers kept a constant watch on him. Escape was practically impossible. The doctor began examining George. On the surface, his vital signs seemed completely normal. His pupils also reacted normally, which ruled out a brain hemorrhage or drug overdose. To confirm whether he was only pretending,
Figure out something is medically wrong with him, or if he's just playing possum.
The doctor did a sternal rub test. The pain from rubbing the breastbone would make anyone who's conscious scream out, but George didn't react at all. that strongly suggested he was truly unconscious. The doctor grew worried about what was really wrong with him. Maybe he wasn't faking it after all. To make sure and prepare for a CT scan, the doctor convinced the police to remove George's handcuffs and leg restraints. A few minutes later, the CT technician rushed out in a panic, calling for police backup because George had woken up suddenly.
The prisoner escaped and he's got a gun.
Oh my god.
Dr. Moss,